Here on HQ, getting ready for the new league year in the NFL, which happens next month. But really, things start moving tomorrow when teams can start tagging players. And these are the projected franchise tag numbers. And these are for first-time tags. Now, Dak Prescott would get a lot more than that $21.4 million if he's tagged again. He would get just under $38 million if the Cowboys elect to do that. So let's check in with our senior NFL insider, Jonathan Jones. JJ, what do you expect this tagging offseason to look like compared to others?
It's going to be very interesting, and it's interesting because we don't know what the salary cap number just yet. All of my sources have indicated to me it will be in the low 180s. Of course, the NFL and NFLPA agreed to raise the salary cap floor from 175 to 180 just last week. It should settle in between 180 and 185, and I think that has to be really installed by March the 8th. Interestingly enough, on March the 9th, that is the deadline to tag guys as franchise players. So if we see tomorrow or Wednesday at the start of this franchise tag window, if we see teams tagging guys early, well, that will signal one of two things: that both sides know that a deal is not going to get done until the summer, if at all, and so we're going to go ahead and tag you, or it could be the team saying, sort of sending a message to the player and his representation, sort of a shot across the bow, and that's what one personnel executive told me earlier today when I inquired about that. However, I spoke with one player representative earlier today and mentioned that to them, and they said, listen, we would come back and say, good luck having that big number on the books for the next 4 months. So there's going to be a little push and pull. There always is a give and take when you're talking about the franchise tag and that sort of immovable cap number, but it especially is paramount this season with a salary cap that obviously is going to be much lower than all expected a year or two ago.
All right, let's talk team specific, and let's start with the champs, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They have a decision to make. You got Shaq Barrett, you got Chris Godwin, and Godwin would become a free agent unless he's tagged. Barrett would as well. What are you hearing on that front?
Yeah, you don't want to lose either one of these guys. The fact is, though, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they are preparing for life without one of them. Who is it going to be? I'm leaning a little bit more toward the Tampa Bay Buccaneers retaining Shaq Barrett. And that is because, listen, that pass rush was a huge reason why you were able to win Super Bowl 55. Meanwhile, Chris Godwin, a fantastic talent, a guy who on any other team would certainly be tagged, is well equipped and well ready to cash in at free agency if he does hit unrestricted free agency. But you look at Tom Brady and you look at this offense, and you know there's a lot of wide receivers that are coming out of college. There's a lot of guys who have speed, and I'm not saying that anyone equals Chris Godwin one-to-one necessarily, but you have to look at bang for your buck on this one. Shaq Barrett, again, he would be tagged for a second consecutive year, so that number would go up to about $19 million, whereas Chris Godwin would cost $16 million. But you do want to keep that defense intact, and we all know that a lot of offensive players would very much be willing to take less money to come play with Tom Brady, whether it is to win a ring or to, it is both to win a ring and hopefully get paid in 2022 and beyond. So I think that they should be leaning towards Shaq Barrett in this one, but you don't want to lose both of them. You certainly don't want to lose either one of them, but you will have to. That's the reality of the situation.
And speaking of defense and pass rushers, the Ravens have a couple who were tagged last season. NGAKOUE was tagged by another team before being traded a couple of times. What options do they have in trying to keep those two or one of those two?
Yeah, it's going to be tough. Matt Judon is the other, and they tagged him last season, and so his number is going to be a little bit higher, $19–20 million. We're still waiting on those to finally be settled in. Judon has a little age on him, and that number is going to be higher than Jan's, but the thing with Judon is he is such a quality, and this is no shot at NGAKOUE at all, but he is beloved in that locker room, really sort of Terrell Suggs-like in that locker room. He fits the Baltimore Ravens both on and off the field at least a little bit better than NGAKOUE. And so if you are having to decide between the two, yes, Judon is going to cost a little bit more. Yes, he has a little bit more wear on the tires, but what does he give your organization? It's going to be difficult for this team to really go into free agency with that number sitting there. They very much would like to get a long-term deal hammered out with Judon rather than have to have that immovable cap number there as they start free agency. So a lot of work has to be done, but we know GM Eric DaCosta, he's a wizard at this stuff, so I wouldn't count them out. I don't think that we're going to see a tag with the Baltimore Ravens tomorrow or Wednesday. If we do see a tag from them, it will certainly be right before the deadline, and I would lean Judon over NGAKOUE.
We saved the most interesting for last. That would be, what are the Cowboys going to do with Dak Prescott coming off the injury? They tagged him last season. If they tag him again, it's going to cost him just under $38 million. What's the latest you're hearing on that?
Yeah, I mean, we're still moving toward a tag situation there. And again, the Cowboys don't want to have that $38 million number hanging there, but what else are they going to do? The Cowboys are still not coming off how they want to have more long-term commitment from Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott wants more bites at the apple in terms of free agency, a shorter contract, get back to free agency, and then get back again. Certainly as these television contracts are being renewed and there's going to be an influx of cash as it relates to the salary cap. So that's where Dak Prescott is right now, and frankly, he has the leverage. Not only is he a fantastic quarterback, but we just saw what life is like without Dak Prescott this past season, and the Cowboys have any number of holes that they need to fill that they could really use some cap relief by filling them. You look at defensive tackle. They've drafted a couple guys, the veterans last year, Gerald McCoy, Dontari Poe, didn't work out. You look at linebacker. They need some depth there, but really it's in the secondary where you have to find a corner opposite Trayvon Diggs. You have to find another safety back there. I think a lot of people are sort of plugging in Ricardo Allen, who just got released from the Atlanta Falcons into Dallas. I would be one of those people who is plugging him in there. But if you can't get any relief from that $38 million cap charge with Dak Prescott, it's going to be really hard to sort of plug these holes that the Dallas Cowboys have going into 2021. So it would be in their best interest to reach a long-term deal with Dak Prescott, but he's not coming off how he wants to get back to free agency in a much shorter time than the Dallas Cowboys are willing to let him go.
All right, that's Jonathan Jones, our senior NFL insider, as we get closer to teams being able to tag players tomorrow. That would be Tuesday. Teams can start doing that. Let's take a look at some of the key dates coming up in the NFL offseason. March 17th is the official start of the league year. That's when free agents can begin signing and the like. The NFL draft is coming up April 29th. That would be the first day of the draft, day one, round one through May the 1st. Your NFL offseason, it is a 12-month sport.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.